Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com. Well, another game, another blown lead for the Edmonton Oilers. They do manage to salvage a point, but a 4-3 loss on a Saturday night in Toronto against the Maple Leafs. A tough hit from Ryan Reeves on Darnell Nurse and a tough performance from Evan Bouchard. We're going to break it all down tonight. And oh, yes, we have a mystery guest, co-host tonight. We've got Rob Brown. Don't worry. He's still here. But Jason Strudwick's got the night off, and that means a new voice, a new face, but a familiar one. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. We are live on Twitter and on YouTube, as always, for this Saturday night post-game edition. And it is brought to you by Play Alberta. When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more so you can play casino games and bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything you need to know is at playalberta.ca. And as the graphic showed you, I'm coming at you from our Adrenaline Diesel studio, Edmonton's premier heavy-duty diesel truck repair shop specializing in powertrain, tuning, performance, and parts sales. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. All right, he just wrapped up the post-game show on 880 Ched. So Rob Brown is set to join us. Brownie Struds gets the night off tonight, but I'm excited about the fill-in co-host. We haven't revealed it yet, but I'm excited. One of the more cerebral players that I have covered in the game. And maybe most importantly, buddy, he's alumni with you and I.
Well, he is. And I mean, the bar is low of what he has to step over to fill in for Strudsy's shoes. So, I mean, we were going up no matter who we had tonight. But we went way up. We went way up. And actually, his feet probably would fit Strudsy's shoes too. So it's another big man we're bringing on with us.
I love it. Without further ado, let's bring him in. The number 14 overall pick from 2004, 542 NHL games, 5 years with the team, finished fourth in Hart Trophy voting in 14-15, was a Vezina finalist, Masterton Award winner. There he is, Devan Dubnyk. Doobie, as the fans always said. Doobs, how are you, buddy?
Boys, thanks for having me. I disagree though. I had a chance to play with Struddy, and one of the funniest, quickest, wittiest guys I've ever played with. So when I realized that I was the one, I was filling his shoes, that actually got me a little nervous. Not a lot gets me nervous these days, but that was one of them.
Yeah, it's not. It won't be hard tonight, buddy. All you got to do is just don't laugh too hard at your own jokes. And you've already beaten them, because nobody laughs harder at a Jason Strudwick joke than Jason Strudwick. You actually told me an interesting story.
They're good jokes, though. But
yeah, they are. But you said Struddy was pretty good to you when you were young, hey?
He was. Struddy was awesome. One of my favorite guys that I played with. I actually got to meet him before. Met him at Spengler Cup before I played with him in Edmonton. And just a fantastic family. Again, just an amazing guy in the dressing room, ton of energy, one of the quickest guys ever. And one of the things I always remember with him is he always kind of said, if you open the door's open and it's game on. If you keep the door closed, I'll leave you alone. And I knew
chirping.
Chirping. Yeah, just in the dressing room and like giving you a hard time. And so it was never even a question that door was staying closed for me. I was going to be buddies with him because when I watched how quick he was and how funny he was, and the other thing with Struddy too is it didn't matter what guys said to him. Like they could say the best chirp you've ever heard in your life, and it would roll off his back. Like nothing happened. So I said, "What?
Yeah,
why are you barking down the street right now? Like, just leave it alone. You can't win. It's just a game you can't win."
It's funny though. Everybody that talks about Strud says the same things. All the great things about off ice. No one ever talked about his on ice stuff. It's just all his off
Yeah.
ice stuff. No one ever says
Well,
he's one of the
listen.
best defensive defensemen I played with. Never had to worry about anything in my own end. But it's like he was really good in the dressing room. Funny as hell. Good family man.
Yeah, well, listen. I mean that upped his on ice game, and that's not saying anything bad because he played a lot of years in the NHL. He was that good in the dressing room.
Yes,
I
he
think
was.
is more of a thing to say. I mean, the guy still he worked as hard and played as hard as anybody, would do anything for anybody. I think that just tells a tale of how funny and how quick and how witty he was in the room, that it gets talked more about than is on ice.
All right, that whistle is because we have hit the limit of nice things we can say in a calendar month about Jason Strudwick. So we're going to wrap up this Struddy Love Fest, guys, and we're going to get to breaking down the Oilers' 4-3 loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's get to our breakdown with Doobie, brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. The cross-Canada clear-out continues with even bigger deals. Get up to $13,600 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Laramie Crew Cab. They're gorgeous trucks. Flat-out gorgeous trucks. And to see one, see your Ram dealer today. Okay. Leads getting away from this team. We've seen it quite a bit lately, Brownie. We're definitely going to get into in detail what we saw from Stuart Skinner tonight. Devan, we're going to take advantage of your experience in net and break down all the goals. We'll do that in a couple of minutes. But right now, Brownie, let's start with that window where things fell apart and the big mistakes crept in, and the Oilers, I know they were shorthanded, right? I get it, but still, they spit the bit again, Brownie, and dropped a point.
Well, the problem for the Oilers, that's 3 games in a row. And all 3 games, the Islanders, Nashville, and tonight, I thought the Oilers controlled the third period. I didn't think any of those teams pressured the Oilers or they had their big push. I thought the Oilers were in control. They're playing safe hockey, smart hockey, but in all 3 games, they made a big mistake or multiple big mistakes. Nashville and the Islanders, they both came back against the Oilers. They didn't have players on their roster that could beat you one-on-one. So anytime they got a grade A scoring chance, it was because the Oilers made a big mistake. Tonight, Toronto has those players, but in the third period, they weren't creating anything. And then Evan Bouchard, I mean, the play that he made trying to go cross ice on his back foot through his own slot with a 1-goal lead, that's something that you learn in bantam hockey, peewee hockey, U15, U13. You just risk reward. There's no reward on that one. There is only high risk, and he knows better. And in tonight's game, they lose Nurse, and you think, okay, that's going to be a lot more ice time in the third period for Emberson and Dermott and Troy Stetcher. Are they up to it? They were fine. It was Evan Bouchard that made the 2 big mistakes in the third period. And I think that's what concerns you if you're an Oiler fan, is they've been in total control of 3 straight games, and it's been veteran players that have made big mistakes that have allowed other teams to come back and steal either a point or, like tonight, 2 points. Devan?
Yeah, I don't disagree. You know, if it's a 3 goal lead, I don't even know if that's still the play. It's tough to come at these guys, because this is also what makes the Oilers so good, is that offensive talent and ability to make plays and think outside the box. I don't think. Well, I don't have to tell you that wasn't the play, to shoot it off McDavid's butt to right onto their tape when you're up by a goal. It is disappointing. I think these guys will, they're veteran guys. They'll learn. I liked the play from the other guys that had to step up after the Nurse hit. This is similar to last year a little bit with the Oilers, but not quite as bad. I mean, last year was like, oh my goodness, are they going to finish last in the league? It was a slow start again, but we all know how good these guys are, and you can see it in the game. I mean, there's really not much, and getting to a little bit into Skinner, like it's a tough game to play because they do play so well and they do have incredible puck possession. I was looking at some of the stats of being, they're top five, top three in the league of, ozone possession, puck possession, high danger scoring chances, all these things. But right now, the puck's not going in the net at the other end. So that becomes difficult for the goalie. I thought Skinner played great, but if you continue all of that stuff for the Oilers, all of those stats, like that's when it turns around. That's kind of how last year where it turns around eventually. Like if you continue those stats and the ozone possession, and if you watch the game tonight, like this is a really good hockey team, which we all know. And I mean, everybody is so spoiled to get to watch Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl every night, and that's and then you got like Nuge and Hopkins too. Like I don't sit down and watch Edmonton Oilers games every night like I did tonight. Everyone is extremely spoiled to get to watch those guys go to work every night because it is so much fun to watch.
Yeah. So listen, you brought up Skinner here. So let's dig into this a little bit, Devan, because, there were a few goals against here tonight. Want your assessment on how these looked. And you are, you're the goaltending expert. So by all means, give us your thoughts. I'll kind of start here and say there were a couple that I didn't really love. I mean, I take us through. Maybe let's go in reverse
I've heard
order.
that out of you before, so you take me through it first, and then I'll walk you back through it.
Yeah, no. Let's not do that. I want you to, but I'm just going to set the table by saying there were some goals I didn't think were great goals. So let's hear from you, and let's start with the most important one first and work our way backwards. And Brownie, chime in here too, buddy. I want to know what you think about this. So I didn't love that overtime goal, Devan. I'm not sure if he seemed a little bit out of sorts or off balance or something. What did you see in that one? And Brownie, maybe before he goes, Brownie, where do you stand on that one? Yeah, Brownie, you go first on that one, and then we'll get the expert.
To me, I thought it was a world-class shot by a world-class player. I thought Mitch Marner, first of all, he stops the 2-on-1. He was a D-man. He stopped Leon and Connor on a 2-on-1. Defensemen in the NHL don't stop Leon and Connor. He breaks up the play and immediately goes up. And the shot he takes, he's a right-handed shot. That puck is so far outside when he comes across his body to the far side on Stuart Skinner. Now, Devan might see the goalie's point of view, but to me, if Connor McDavid does that, we're talking about what an incredible shot by Connor McDavid, or Leon, what a great shot. With Mitch Marner scoring, and we're Oiler fans, we're saying Skinner's got to have it. But in my eyes, I thought it was a fantastic shot by Mitch Marner. What do you think, Devan?
I agree 100% that it was a fantastic shot. I didn't like the way he played it, and that's the biggest thing, right? Is that you need to make your read on these on these plays, and I think that he obviously felt like there was going to be a backdoor pass there. And so he got deep and he got flat. So as much as Marner made an incredible shot, I would have liked, if that was going to beat him, I would have liked to see him make a better read on the play. And then you have to, once you make that read, you have to trust that backdoor play is no longer available. And then you have to hold your ground. And then he has to square up and hold his ground. And then if Mitch Marner makes that shot, then tip your cap.
Yeah.
Great shot.
Great point.
I think he just got, and it doesn't take away from Mitch Marner's shot. I just think on that play that Stu got in between where you could see he's backing up and then he becomes flat. And that opens up the ability for that play because obviously he didn't fully trust that backdoor, that the pass was covered. But you have to make that read, and you have to trust the players that you're with. And then when he makes that read, he's got to buckle down and square up. And then if he gets beat, he gets beat because guys will beat you. Listen, these guys like nobody that hasn't stood in the net understands what it looks like for these shots to come at you. It's pretty outrageous. So they will beat you sometimes. but you have to put
100%.
yourself in the best situation possible to make that save. And in that situation, I just think he was moving a little much and he got a little bit flat.
Brownie, let's get to the McMahon goal. And
Yep.
Brownie, first of all, I want you to talk less about Skinner and more about the play itself, right? Where McDavid bounces the puck in the offensive zone. It comes off the boards. Brownie, what did you see in that play? And then, Devan, afterwards, give us a thought on the play, but what you saw from the goaltender there, Brownie.
Well, I saw McDavid. It looked like he was trying to throw it behind the net, and it hit somebody, and it bounces straight out. Bobby McMahon read it before Bouchard and Ekholm did. He read where that puck was going. Then if you look at it, McMahon's about 30 feet below Bouchard and Ekholm. And he got on his horse and he outraced them. He's going to beat Ekholm in a lot of races. Ekholm does so many things great. He doesn't have flat-out speed. Bobby McMahon does. Evan Bouchard, he read it late. His first 3 strides were lazy. He took the wrong angle. And then it was too late. So all of those things. So Ekholm just got beat because McMahon realized it first and he's faster. Bouchard got beat because he didn't realize where he was in trouble. And then he took the wrong route and he was slow off the get-go. Then as a goalie, and this will go to Devan, it looked like to me that Stuart Skinner hesitated. And when he hesitated, he got stuck in no man's land because he didn't get out, but he was too far out of his net. And that was Bobby McMahon really didn't have to do anything. Once he won the race, he just skated around Stuart Skinner because Stuart Skinner was lost at that point. So in my eyes, Bouchard made a mistake. Ekholm was just beat because McMahon was faster and Stuart Skinner hesitated, and Bobby McMahon made a fantastic play. Devan?
Well, I think it's a combination of all of those things. And I think that caught Skinner off guard because what happens is you could see the reaction of Bouchard. He almost, when I say give up, I don't mean he gave up because obviously he's not going to quit on a play, but he realized there's zero chance I'm catching McMahon right now. So he started looking around because it was kind of a weird, awkward play off the boards, and McMahon got a big jump on him and is very, very fast. But you could see Bouchard he was like, I'm not getting this guy. So he actually, in my mind, made a smart play of slowing up and starting to look around as to, okay, what can I do after this if Skinner does make the save? And then, like you said, Ekholm just got beat in the race. And the combination of that, I think Skinner thought that he wasn't going to have the opportunity to make a move. I think that he thought it was just going to be, he was going to be pressured and forced to make a shot. And that's why I think he got caught so far out where he thought that McMahon was going to be forced to shoot the puck due to pressure from his defenseman. And then all of a sudden realized, oh, shoot, this guy's got a breakaway and he's going 100 miles an hour. And then that's why he was kind of just able to walk around him. So I think it was kind of a combination of all three of them of just misread, kind of a weird play, and then just also getting beat by a ton of speed.
For sure. Over on our YouTube mentions here in the Weiss Johnson YouTube mentions, people are kind of going nuts. Like Relentless says in all capital letters, I can't believe Skinner is taking heat for Bouchard's worst game ever. So there's a lot of piling on to Evan Bouchard happening from angry Oiler fans right now. Brownie, I'm sure you heard just a little of that in your post-game show on Ched. Listen, we're going to get to Evan Bouchard here in just 1 second, but what we're not going to do, there's people calling for him to be traded. There's people saying they need to move on. We're not going to engage in any of that. Oh, I'm not going to say stupidity because that's what I really think, but that would be harsh. We're not going to engage any of that silliness. He had a tough game. He's a really good defenseman, but it was a tough night for him. So, Brownie, we talk about the mistake, putting the puck off McDavid's arse, and it ends up in the back of the net. Not a great look on the back check. Well, I kind of agree with what you say, Devan, and that he probably looked up and realized, all right, I'm not McDavid here. I'm not going to catch the guy. I get it, but still, it's not a great look because Bouchard kind of.
It didn't look good. You're right.
Yeah, it's not a great look.
I think he just realized he wasn't catching him. But you're right. It didn't look good. It looked like he quit. I don't think that's what he was doing, but it wasn't a good look.
He had another play earlier in the game. Yeah, go ahead, Brownie. Go ahead.
So I agree with Dubnyk or with Devin. Sorry, Dubnyk. I'm talking like an announcer right now. I agree with Devin.
Me whatever you want.
I agree with Devin with at the end of it where he slowed down. He was looking at that point if there's a save. I thought that was a really good play by him. I think at the beginning, I thought his first 3 strides is where he should have. I think he didn't realize. He didn't realize he was in trouble, and his first 3 strides weren't good enough, and his angle was terrible. He should have just gone straight to the middle and try and cut him off. But Evan Bouchard, the problem for people with Evan Bouchard, the way Evan Bouchard plays, and I'm dating myself, he plays like a guy named Doug Crossman that I used to play against. He played smart, not hard, and sometimes you're like, he's not even trying out there yet. He's always making the right plays, and I think sometimes with Evan Bouchard, he doesn't look like his heart's beating fast. It just, and sometimes it makes him look worse than it is. And there are times where he simply makes a bad play, but he's got one of those guys that's got, you either love him or you hate him. In Edmonton, there's not a lot of people that are right in the middle with him.
Yeah. The other point I'll make about Bouchard tonight, a couple of things. There was another time off a rush when, was it McMahon? I think somebody dragged it into their feet and walked him and drove hard to the net and almost scored. So he got beat clean off a one-on-one rush coming off a guy coming in off the right wing. Didn't love that. And then the other thing for me tonight with Bouchard, you guys, like, struggled defending for sure and made some big mistakes, but he had 11 shot attempts tonight and hit the net with 2 of them. He was missing the net or getting them blocked so often tonight. And that's supposed to be one of his strengths. And I love the intention to get it to the net, Doobie, but it seemed like he was off the mark with a lot of his best looks tonight. And that is unlike him.
Yeah, it is unlike him. And that's one of his biggest assets as well. He's got an absolute bomb on him. But, he's with the success that he's had offensively, especially with that shot, he might need to change a little bit, just as far as moving around, and then also when those opportunities come, when it does open up, to make damn sure that he's hitting the net, because teams have, they've picked up on it. He's got an absolute cannon, and he's scored from up top so many times that teams are, it's gonna look like a Carlson in Washington, where all of a sudden you're going to have to keep an eye on this guy too, because he's that right-handed shot from up top that'll blow it straight by you. So he might need to get a little more creative as far as finding lanes, and then also when those opportunities come, to make sure that he hits the net, because he's very, very, very dangerous when he can do that, not just for going straight in, but rebounds and whatnot as well.
Well, there's a couple tonight, Shog, that you're talking about where the Oilers did a fantastic job getting him wide open. He walked in, I think Leon gave it to him where he walked open. He took the slap shot from about 15 feet out and missed the net. 3 feet wide.
That was pretty heavily wide for how in tight he was there.
And the thing is that's different between an Evan Bouchard shooting from there, or for me, I have to be precise. My shot's not going to beat anyone if it's a little off because I don't shoot hard. Evan Bouchard, he can miss his spot, and it's a shot that's heavy enough that it can go through a goalie. It can hit a glove and still go in. It could hit the side of the pad and still find its way in, or through the body. So he doesn't have to be off the post and in because his shot is so heavy. So I think sometimes when he's trying to be too precise, he doesn't have to be. He walks in with or takes a slap shot from 30 feet out. There's no chance a goalie is going to stop that unless it hits him. So I think tonight he just was trying to pick a spot that was just too precise when he don't have to.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt too, that he knew there was only about 3.5 seconds left on the clock when he tried to when he nicely toe dragged Marner right at the end of the game. The camera cut to him, and even he kind of went like, woof. So almost like he was like, yeah, that was. Now I don't think Marner could have gotten all the way down the ice, but if there were 4.5 seconds, so we're going to give Bouchard the benefit of the doubt here that he knew exactly how much time was on there. All right, that's comprehensive discussion on Skinner and on Evan Bouchard's night. One last point I'll make on Bouchard here, Doobie. And listen, you've played for Team Canada. You know what it means. Like Evan Bouchard coming into this season, I would have thought was a lock for the Four Nations face-off. I'm not sure which way this is going to go right now. And the way his game is right now, remember, this is being picked in like 2.5 weeks. They're going to have to make a call here. They've already got Cale Makar to run a power play. They've got a lot of other pretty good options. He's not a lock here. And I can't help but wonder, Doobie, if he's feeling maybe some of the pressure of a contract that he's playing for and a team that he's desperately trying to make. And it's not about the Four Nations face-off necessarily, but it's also about the subsequent Olympics too. There's a lot riding on these selections.
Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily something that becomes a thing at first, especially when you're considered somebody that is supposed to be a part of that, somebody that's looked highly at as an opportunity to play in these tournaments. But when things when things like this start to happen, like we're talking about, then that's kind of where it can become something that you start to think about. It's like maybe you weren't thinking about it before. You weren't thinking about making the team, but you knew you had a good opportunity, and it's one of the best honors you can ever have to represent your country, and you're in high conversation to make this team. And so maybe it wasn't a thing before, but now if you struggle a little bit or things are going well, like you said, no shortage of power play guys there. If you start not being solid defensively, I mean, everybody's a human being. There's things that you start to think about, and I'm not saying that they do affect him, but they can affect you because everybody's a human being. And again, if you go into the year thinking, wow, I got an opportunity to play in this Four Nations Cup and potentially the Olympics, and everybody's talking about me and things are great, and like that, again, that's one of the biggest honors you can possibly have. And then all of a sudden, things aren't going as well as you planned. That can bother you because these guys are people. They're human beings. So that could be something. It could not be something. I don't know. Everyone's different, but it's definitely something that could be bothering him.
Anything on that, Brownie?
No, I agree. I do. I mean, I didn't have Evan Bouchard as a lock on this team. I didn't. I think that Evan's strength is obviously power play and his shot. They've got someone that's better. Cale Makar is a better power play guy than Evan Bouchard right now, I believe. Evan is his deficiency. That's not a hot
take, Brownie.
No.
no offense to Bouchard, but saying Cale Makar is better than somebody on a power play is not a hot take.
It's true. Cale Makar, he's got the potential to be an MVP of the league, not just the Norse. But Evan Bouchard's weaknesses would be defensive hockey. And when you play in a Four Nations Cup or an Olympics, you don't have anyone on the other team that isn't great. And you talked about him getting beat one-on-one going to the net. There was a couple of games ago on home ice. Someone walked him from the blue line. He's one of the few defensemen that you see actually get walked one-on-one. Yeah. It's rare. It's hard to walk someone in the NHL one-on-one. So Evan Bouchard defensively has had some missteps this year that has to be taken out of his game.
Do you know what I think just happened right there, Brownie? I think Doobie just opened the door with you. I think he just opened the door with you with that chirp. And I think it's game on now.
How is that a chirp?
No, wow, that's not a hot take, Brown.
Well, see, but the problem is usually we have Struddy here, and I have to slow my speaking down and explain it for him. So Doobie's a little bit higher up, so I understand. That's my fault.
With the door firmly open,
Brownie said that Canada has a better power play defenseman than Evan Bouchard. Sorry.
With the door open, Ryan Bradley is firing a quick shot at you, Doobie, saying, "Why is Doobie dressed like the caddy from Happy Gilmore?" Ryan Bradley from the stream.
Yeah, I get it. I was gonna change. This is all my local hockey team stuff. This is all our colors.
Love it.
So we're the Edina Hornets. Now, quick story here before we get back to the game that I didn't learn until I moved here to Minnesota. Obviously, everybody's seen the Mighty Ducks. I would hope everybody that's watching this has seen Mighty Ducks. So the team, the bad guys, what are they called? No, I'm being an idiot and blanking out.
I can't remember.
The black team. Yeah, the bad guys, all the rich kids.
Okay.
Literally, so this film was based in Minnesota, and they based that hockey team off of the Edina Hornets. And I didn't find that out until we moved in here, and my kids weren't even we only had one when we moved here. No idea. But that team in the Mighty Ducks movie is based off of the Edina Hornets. But in saying that, that's why I wanted to make sure we were still repping. It's an amazing organization. And good colors too. All old Minnesota North Stars colors.
Yeah, it is pretty solid. But if you did throw a golf bag over your back, it would fit. I'm just saying it would fit. It would fit. It would fit, and it would make sense.
Yeah.
All right. One of the assignments.
I carry when I play. So I usually have a golf bag on my back. Yeah.
There you go. By the way, we're dealing with a little bit of a delay here on the stream, so we're trying not to talk over one another, but if it's a little awkward, that's why that's happening, just so everybody knows. We're not trying to be rude to one another. Relentless Player of the Night. Doobie, did you remember to grab one? Did you remember your homework assignment? Or are you scrambling to think of one right now? Brownie will help you out with this while I do the ad read. It's brought to you by You Can Use Services. At Edmonton Charity, relentless in helping youth age 16 to 24 get out of harm's way and find employment. Visit youcan.ca to see how your donation being live right here in our community. Got Your Back is a proud monthly donor at UCAN, and we encourage you to do the same if you can. A truly great organization. Oh, he bailed right out of there.
Panics.
He gone.
Oh yeah. No, I do little quick homework. I got my pick.
Okay, you got your pick. All right, Doobie, who do you got for Relentless Player of the Night, buddy?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go with Emerson. Is it Emerson or Emberson?
Emberson with a B.
Yep.
Emberson. That's what I thought. I thought I missed a B in there. I was keeping an eye on him. Shari, you told me to watch him. I really liked his game. I mean, he's not a big kid, but he skates extremely well. And I also watched him block, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, like good blocks too. Good position blocks, not like last minute diving in front of the puck. Like he was just in good position. I liked the way he moved the puck. And I felt like, even them giving him a chance to, they get with the 5-on-3, like putting him out there as a young kid. Like I just liked the way he played. I thought it was great. And again, a lot of good blocks, a lot of good positional blocks. And thought he moved really well.
Who'd be your pick, Brownie?
Well, he was good. I mean, I probably went on to the other side. I would have called Mitch Marner. I mean, the play that he made in overtime, breaking up a 2-on-1 with Connor and Leon and then taking it down the other way and scoring, he would have been my guy. But the one thing about Emberson, since he's been moved to the third pairing and the pressure is off him, the stress is off him of being a top 4 guy, he looks more comfortably playing better. And there was a huge hit he did I think it was right in front of the Leafs bench. He absolutely rocked someone. He is very good at physical play as well. So Emerson had a strong game for the Oilers tonight. Good call, Doobie. Yeah,
I'll throw honorable mention out there for Janmark or maybe Leon Draisaitl too. I thought, that was a big goal for him to salvage a point for his team. But all 3 or 4 of those guys very worthy. Okay. Steve-O, I'm going to do a little producing on the fly here because we were way long in that segment, but why wouldn't we be? We got Devan Dubnyk with us. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. Steve, on the other side, we're going to do takeaways because we are remiss in that we have not dealt with the Darnell Nurse hit yet. So we'll talk about that in takeaways and wrap up evaluating the game. But then we're going to do Ask Us Anything right after takeaways in the next segment. So if you have questions for Devan Dubnyk, we got a great group here on the live stream. Fire in your questions to us about the game. Fire in your questions to Doobie, anything that you might want to know. He's going to stick around for that. So Steve, takeaways, Ask Us Anything coming up in the next segment. You got it locked into Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
I'm having a blast.
All right, welcome back to the show. Time now for takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Can-Am side-by-sides allow you to take on any season and any terrain. Right now at Martin Motorsports, you can save up to $6,545 on in-stock Can-Am Defenders, Mavericks, or Commanders. Stop by Martin Motorsports on the west or south side of Edmonton to find your next ride today, or check out their inventory online at martinmotorsports.ca. Okay, as I just said, we are.
You know what I love so much about these ads? Sorry to cut you off.
What's that?
You know what I love so much about these
that?
ads? It's just like living in Mini. It's just like these are all Minnesota ads too. They're all
same lifestyle.
Outdoor. It's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
it's the best.
And you'd love Martin Motorsports, buddy. Like we got Martin Motorsports, we got DeBoer's Golf Shop. Like we got a list of sponsors. You liked your suits. We got Mr. Dirk. Like our sponsor list is perfect for Devan Dubnyk's lifestyle, no question. Let's get to the hit, guys. We should have mentioned it in the last segment, but we got so deep into some great goaltending talk and some Evan Bouchard stuff. So, Brownie, I'm going to let you take this one first. It is what it is, buddy. How bad do you think it was?
To me, it's an in-person meeting. To me, it's 5 games plus. When you watch it, I mean, Darnell Nurse was in a vulnerable position. He was looking behind him. I don't know if his teammates yelled. We're not there. We can't hear it. But he was looking back for the puck. Reeves read that the problem that I had with hit was not only was it to the head, but if you watch when he connects, he brings his body up. So it was one thing if he would have went in low and tried to at least go shoulder to shoulder and misses, that's one thing. He actually brings his shoulder up, which comes up and completely catches Darnell Nurse's head. It was the right call. I believe it should be a 5-game suspension. I mean, it's ugly when you see a player laying there and there's a bunch of blood. But to me, the National Hockey League's responsibility is to look after its players. And it's not the players that throws the hit. It's to look after the players that are in a vulnerable, dangerous position. They're there to look after Darnell Nurse tonight and any player moving forward. So send a message. So to me, it's a minimum 5-game suspension and hopefully more. Devin?
Yeah, I can't disagree. It was a awful hit. The only thing, and I mean, this is hard to even say because I don't want to like defend any part of the hit because it was really bad. I mean, it was direct on the head. Big boy, like you said, Darnell was in a vulnerable position. I don't, with Reeves, like that's the hard part with these guys, with the game that they play, is they're forced to play that game. So when he sees that play happen, and I know that when we slow it down, it's easy for us to watch. And again, awful hit. Like you can't do that. And I don't disagree with what you're saying with the suspension because that they have to get rid of that. But the line is so thin for these guys where he knows like with his ice time and he's going to get out there, Darnell comes around the net and Revo sees an opportunity to make a big hit. And the line is so thin from him hitting his shoulder to hitting his head. And that is his responsibility. So that's not giving him a free pass because that is why they've changed the rules to protect the players. And it's not okay, and he should be suspended for it. But I don't think he is necessarily that type of player. I think you could see like legitimate remorse out of him after when he saw how Darnell was. And again, everything I'm saying is not defending or saying that he shouldn't be suspended. I just think that these guys, when they have limited ice time and this is their role, it's such a fine line because things happen so fast. And you could see, I mean, that's 12 inches from being shoulder to shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to be more responsible, knowing that if he's not sure about it being shoulder to shoulder and body to body, like he needs to lay off. Because that I don't think Revo is a guy, that's his role. And you could see that he was upset, but it was a very bad hit. And I don't disagree with your assessment of the suspension, because that was a tough one to watch. That was about as direct shoulder to head contact as you're going to see.
So, listen, I'm not going to crawl into a guy's head and try and figure out what his intentions were. I'm not going to say on purpose, planned, or whatever. But what I will say, he had time to think about what he was about to do. He had like 5 or 6 strides. He sees Darnell Nurse coming. Nurse, he kind of stayed along the same trajectory, didn't really change his path at all. The only thing he did was kind of like turn his head at the last second, but the elevation of his head didn't change. And like Reeves had all 6 of those strides to evaluate the situation and to think, what am I going to do here? And I think if you're Ryan Reeves, you've got a chance to lay a really big, solid hit on one of the other team's most important, best players. And you might be able to hit to hurt in that situation, which that still is allowed in the game. Drive a shoulder into his chest, and hey, that's a great lick on one of their best players. Instead, he makes that choice, brutal hit, takes the head, hurts his team, and another situation where a guy that, wants to stay in the league is trying to stay in the league. And yes, it's a fine line. You can't do that if you're Ryan Reeves. You can't show that with all that time and space, you're capable of making that bad a decision, because then the risk reward of having you around just doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to say it was on purpose, but he definitely had time to think about what he was doing there.
Yeah,
well, I
agree with you 100%.
About you guys.
It definitely wasn't on purpose, but you're 100% right in that assessment that there was time to make a better decision.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I yelled at the TV. You could see it coming. When Darnell Nurse got the puck behind the net, the camera angle's on Nurse. You knew Reeves was out there, and you could tell where Nurse's head was.
100 miles an hour.
You could, and you couldn't even see Reeves in the picture. But I yelled, I'm like, heads up, screaming at the TV by myself. I'm like, because it was obvious, and if I can see it from a TV in Edmonton, then Ryan Reeves knew exactly what was available to him. And I don't think he tried to take his head off, but he certainly was hitting to hurt. But
you're responsible for it. That's the whole thing, right? Like we know that Revo is a good dude. Like everybody knows that. Everyone respects him around the league and knows he's a good teammate. But at the end of the day, you are responsible, and that was a very irresponsible hit, and it was a very, very ugly hit as well. One that I chose to stop rewatching as they showed it 6 times over on the replays.
Oilers weren't happy with it either. We'll get to the Weiss Johnson Soundbox here from now until November 22nd. Get 20% off all garage heater installs. Help make your life more comfortable from a warm car or a toasty man cave. Contact Weiss Johnson today to get in on this great deal. Jingle. Weiss Johnson, whoa. Adam Henrique post game on that hit by Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, I mean, again, the game is fast, and avoiding the hit. I mean, I think we're professional athletes, and we're able to make those decisions quick. I think in our head, and you know when a guy's vulnerable or in a bad spot, those sorts of things. I think around the ice. So just one you don't want to see.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
I think it's a dangerous play. He's got to know that Nursey doesn't see him coming and choose the right path there, and he doesn't. And it's it's tough to see one of your teammates on the ice like that. So dangerous play. You don't ever want to see something like that.
So, talking about a suspension here, guys, and those of you out there, if you have a minute here, whenever you get a chance, take a look at the Tanner Jeannot play on, was it Brock Besser that Jeannot hit, I think, against the Vancouver Canucks? So take a look, and there are some similarities there in that Besser is turned, doesn't see it coming. It's a shot completely to the head, very similar in a lot of ways. This hit for Nurse was a lot more devastating, just given the size of Ryan Reeves, the size of Darnell Nurse, the blood that was involved. The Nurse and Reeves thing seems a lot more like intense and impactful, and it makes you think it needs to be more. Jeannot ended up getting 3 games for that, and I have had some saying that feels pretty comparable. So, Brownie, I'm not sure if you have recall on what that one looked like, but...
Well, I watched that one. I actually thought the Tanner Jeannot one was worse for the simple reason it was late. Not the hit to the head, but Besser, it was a good 2 seconds after Besser had passed the puck. There was no puck near him. Darnell Nurse had the puck, and this could have been a hockey play. If he didn't hit, if Jeanette did not hit Besser in the head, it still would have been a penalty because it was not a hockey play. But I think because Reeves is been suspended 3 other times or 4 other times before, he's been fined because of hits before. I do believe then that's why it's going to be a bigger suspension, or should be a bigger suspension at 5 games, because he's a repeat offender. So that's what I think on that one.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good take right there. And I think Nuge said it really well as well. Is that he could have made. He knew he was vulnerable, and it was his job to make a decision to take a different path. And again, I don't think, these guys walk a fine line, and I don't want to, that was a devastating hit and very illegal, and I don't want to sit here and try to defend any part of that hit because it was very bad. But I think Nuge said it the best, was that he had time to know that he was vulnerable and take a different line. And he could have laid him out clean.
Mm-hmm.
And he had time to take a different trajectory, and go straight through his body. And that's the biggest thing, is that it's just like that's what they're trying to eliminate out of the game. You have to make these decisions because, man, like it was tough to watch. And I don't think that Reeves wants to hurt anybody that way, but it doesn't matter. You're responsible for your actions, and he's going to have to be responsible for that, because that was a horrendous hit.
Yeah, and he had a chance to make what would have been a huge hit on one of the other team's best defensemen. Could have been a momentum-shifting hit. And anyways, we'll get to the power play a little bit later because the Oilers obviously didn't convert. Steve, let's do the poll real quick, though, because it has to do with this Ryan Reeves thing. Brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center, helping you play better golf since 1999. They got that great TrackMan fitting technology. Check out their Pro Shop-style atmosphere located at 5311 99th Street. Here in Edmonton. Steve, hop in here and give us the poll. Quickly, though, Devan, what's your cap at these days? You big golfer.
I'm sitting at an 8.3 index. Our course was closed for a year and a half, which was devastating. So I've slipped a little bit. I think the lowest I've got was around 5.
Impressive stuff. Steve, what do you got, buddy?
I don't score well around the greens. I'm good tee to green, but I got goalie mitts around the greens. That's what I did when I played. I just kind of, it's when I get on the green, I just shovel putts towards the hole. It's the same thing when I went behind the net. I just shovel the puck to my D-man. Be like, heads up, someone's coming.
All right, the DeBoer's Golf Shop. DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll tonight. The question on the YouTube stream is, how many games should Reeves be suspended? The 4 options are 1 to 3 games, 4 to 5 games, 6 to 8 games, or 9 or more games? We'll get back to that later on.
Oh, all right. Sounds good. We'll try and remember to wrap up the poll late in the show tonight. The last 2 shows we've done this poll, we forget to wrap it up at the end. Okay, Steve, we'll give you a second. You can grab all of the great comments that are coming in on the stream there. We'll get to our Ask Us Anything segment. Ask Doobie and Brownie anything. Brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. With this year's lowered rates, now's the perfect time to revisit your mortgage options. If you need to renew your mortgage, Maria Gallus with Maximum Mortgages can take care of finding you the best rates and work with your best interests in mind. Contact Maria today at mortgagesbymaria.ca for all your mortgage needs. I know when I am and am not needed, and I will not be needed for this segment. I'm going to go refill my water, Steve. Everybody cares what these guys think about the night. I'll be back in a minute. Go for it, Steve.
All right,
this is terrifying right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You just be honest, buddy. Okay, so the chat on this show, they love to talk about Dustin Schwartz. There's a lot of Dustin talk. So they want to know. First of all, there were a couple of questions just asking about what your relationship was like with him. And Neil Garrity says, I heard somewhere that you continued to work with Dustin after you left the Oilers. Is that true?
So I actually did not work with Dustin with the Oilers. I worked through Lyle Mast, who worked with Dustin. So I have not had a direct working relationship with Dustin. But I know that he teaches the same stuff that I worked with Lyle Mast on, and that's the eye and the head tracking stuff. And I know he does a very good job at that. But I did not have a direct working relationship with him when I was there. I had Pete Peters was my first goalie coach there, and then Freddie Shabbat, who is now the goalie coach for the Wild. Those are my goalie coaches in Edmonton, so I did not have a direct working relationship with Dustin, but I know he teaches the same stuff, and he has learned from Lyle Mast that stuff, which I really, really believe in.
All right. CK Pawn asks, how much of this is on Stu and and his ability, and how much of it is between the ears? He mentions George Mumford, who's the Oilers' sports psychologist, speaking to him. So, Doobie, just your thoughts on the important, or how the sports psychology has played a part in your career. How you think that's affecting Stu right now?
Well, I think it's important. Here's the thing: is that everyone's going to forget right now that Stu is still a young kid, especially in the goalie age. And we forget because it was, Western Conference Final and then one game away from winning the Stanley Cup. And he is still a young goalie. And so there's going to be different ebbs and flows in different parts of the season that you have to go through. When I first got traded to Minnesota, I was playing with house money and I rolled, and I mean, nothing went wrong. And went into the playoffs, won a playoff series, all that. And then all of a sudden going into the next season, a lot of expectations because I signed a big contract and all of a sudden I was a starting goaltender, whereas the year before I was, again, playing with house money. So there's all these different things that Stu's going to go through and learn about and learn how to deal with, and it's going to make him a better goaltender and a better player. But there are going to be ups and downs, and that's what people need to understand. It's not just going to be this magical ascend to perfection. He's still a young player, and especially for a goalie, he's a young player. So I think he's doing great, and I think the adversity that he dealt with last year in the playoffs, the way that he dealt with it, and the way that he really ascended after. That could be devastating on a team that was expected to go far to get replaced with the backup goalie, and then for him to come back in and do what he did, I think was incredible. And people just need to understand there's just going to be ebbs and flows, especially as a young kid, and he's going to become more consistent the more experience that he gets. And I got no concerns about him.
Steve-O, I'm going to grab two here. There's a couple I saw that I liked. First of all, just some flowers for you here, Deb. Calvin Best says, congrats on being a finalist for the Vezina in 14-15. Was great to see you show what you could do, and I think a lot of people would echo that. Then Ro Nelson says, ask Doobie, is goals saved above expected really a metric that is indicative of a goaltender's play? The Oilers is not great. What's your sense on that metric, Doobie?
Gotta be honest. I need to know a little bit more exactly about how that metric is decided. I think it's a good thing to look at because really it's something that will show you just because a goalie got 40 shots and stopped 38 of them doesn't mean, if they were 38 wrist shots from the outside, not that happens anymore at all. I mean, watching these games is completely insane, the scoring chances and how these guys move the puck. But I do like the idea of the metric. I don't know enough about how it's decided to have a real idea on it. But I do like the idea of it because it's basically showing, what you should. Are you doing better than you should, or are you doing worse than you should?
Brownie, for a lot of the season, Brownie, the Oilers' expected goals were really, really high, but their actual goals were not that high. Do you think it can kind of, and basically what it does is they just scrape the data of where the shot attempts are coming from, and they assign a value to those locations and to those situations. And they say, based on the quality of the shots that are coming in and the shot attempts that are coming in, this is how many goals you can expect a goalie to be giving up or a team to be scoring. So it's kind of scraping data from all these different shot locations and time of game and all that kind of stuff. Brownie, the tale on the Oilers was that the expected goals was really, really high and the actual goals kind of wasn't. That seemed indicative of what was going on early on this year, though.
Well, in all honesty, if you are a hockey person and understand the game, all analytics do is confirm what you see. Like, I don't think there's any real surprises. Oh my goodness, I didn't know the Oilers were playing very good. Right here, they got a lot more, they should be scoring more goals. So it just really confirming what you already know as a hockey person. As far as all of those shot metrics, I mean, are they taking into consideration who has the grade A scoring chance? Because there's a difference. If Devan Dubnyk is standing there and it's Connor McDavid from 6 feet out, as opposed to Ryan Reeves from 6 feet out, that's not the same expected goal save or whatever it is. That's two completely different things. So I don't know all of the ins and outs, just like Doobie said. I don't know how they all do all these things. But analytics really are just confirming what hockey people already know and just kind of backing up. Here's what I'm seeing, and here's the data to tell you why I'm seeing it.
One more for Devin, and then we're going to...
Sorry, just real quick. I think you're exactly right. I think it's a quick way to confirm what the hockey minds are already seeing. Because most of the time, what the analytics that you're getting, you're like, okay, yeah, that's just confirming what I'm seeing.
Steve, one more for Devin, and then we'll let him get ripping.
Okay, Paulie asks, what does Doobie think is the Oilers' two biggest problems that need immediate attention?
Immediate attention.
There's a lot of focus all the time,
I mean,
Devin, on that right side and defense, right? Like when you think about a team that wants to get to a Stanley Cup final, and then you look at the options they have on the blue line, and I mean, I'm not gonna chirp anybody too hard, but as a goalie, if you don't got enough depth on that blue line, man, it can be tough for goalies, and it can be tough. That's got to be up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the defensive side, just like you said, and not just that, is a lot of it is just the depth that you need to go all the way, because you just can't have an injury that just cripples you, because if you start to get to a situation where you have a 5 and 6 defenseman needing to play 3 and 4 minutes, and then which puts a 3-4 defenseman needing to play 1-2 minutes, like it doesn't work. So you see these teams, like you definitely need more depth there. And then I mean, I think just without talking about making moves. I mean, just watching the game tonight, like even that first goal, like watching the Oilers go score whatever it was, 40 some seconds into the game. Maybe it wasn't that quick, but it was close. And then they almost scored 3 more times. And then they go back in their end and they just make a dumb play in the corner. Just sloppy. Sloppy play in the corner, turn the puck over, and now it's 1-1. And you're on the road, you're in Toronto, and it's a different ball game. And then you, again, in the third period, you watch kind of the way things went down, and they got a huge goal from Draisaitl out the end. But it's just like, like those are the things, right? Like you never know. I always tell, this is my message to all my kids that I coach, is it's the same thing, and I learned it from playing, is that you just never know. Like every time you step over the boards, you don't know if that shift is going to be the difference in the game. And I feel like watching tonight, like there were just unnecessary plays by the Oilers, and but the good news for Oilers fans is those are very fixable, because all the metrics show that they should be at the top of the league. And so if they can continue that and eliminate those little but big mistakes, then they should be where we would expect them to be.
Right on. Devin, listen, buddy, we really appreciate this, man. It was great to catch up. Three old Blazer alumni. You know, between the three of us, we really made a big impact on that organization. Equally,
the loops. The loops. I brought our family went out there this summer. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's always great to be back at Kamloops. And somebody was asking on the stream, like, to compare the impact of the three of us on the Kamloops Blazers. And I had a good chuckle at that one. It was like, well, 2 long conversations in a short one. But buddy, listen, great to have you. Will you come back and join us again?
100%.
All right. Thanks, man. Great to see you.
Okay. Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Now, what you don't know is that, like, we're not going to commercial right away. So you have to try and figure out how to get out of the show. Rob Brown.
Yeah. What do I do?
No, we're just going to watch you struggle.
Just go like this.
We're just going to watch you struggle.
You're going to watch me stick my face like super close to the phone.
Yeah. Just don't take the phone into the bathroom and take a leak or something. Like, just kind of.
See, Shogger, he told you this is not as easy as you think.
That I own.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to see every pore in my face. I actually don't know how to get off here. I might just
turn
my
I told you.
Can you kick him?
It's hard.
I can
hang
get
on,
rid of him.
Hang on. I see an X.
There it is. See you, buddy.
X.
Bye,
yeah,
Dev.
I see you hang up. All right. We'll see you guys
Bye,
soon.
Dev. See you, man. That was Devan Dubnyk joining us here on Got Your Back. That's awesome. Love having Devan Dubnyk on the show with us tonight. He was a great guy to cover. Always really, really well spoken. Okay, Brownie, we went way long, but why wouldn't we? Because we had Devan Dubnyk. So I just want to let people know what we have left. We'll bring the happy music right away in the next segment. We'll do brownie points. Struddy's World. We don't have Struddy, so we decided to save a conversation that I know everybody wants to have. You see that Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight last night? What did you think? Brownie and Steve and I are going to bat that around. Send in your comments on the stream. That'll be the content in Struddy's World tonight. And then we got our core blue liners as well. So lots still ahead here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
There we go. Time now for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. an Alberta-based family-owned business opened back in 1962. Look at all that amazing product they got. You know what they can send you? $85 for 3 pounds of beef jerky. Regular $120. So it's a great savings. Hamel's Meats. Fantastic stuff. Hop on to albertajerky.com to order yours and enter code GOTYOURBACK for an additional 10% off. Okay, Brownie, let's start handing out some points. Is Doobie going to get any tonight? Is Devan Dubnyk going to get... Yeah?
He's going to get the first 100. First 100 points for Devan Dubnyk. It was nice listening to a goalie explain things. And it's funny on the show with Ched, and then we get the people calling in here asking about goaltenders or talking about goalies. I have no idea about goalies. I don't know what he should or shouldn't do. I see what a player does. When Marner scores, that's a great shot, but I really liked how he explained where he should have been. He should have trusted Bouchard.
Yeah.
On the other one where
awesome.
He hesitated. That was really good. So I give 100 points to Devan Dubnyk. And again, I have done events with him. Fantastic person. It was nice having him on here tonight. I've got 13 brownie points for Matthias Janmark. Another strong game for him. He is right now third, I believe, of all forwards in points on the Edmonton Oilers. He's got 8 points on the season. I think that's tied for third of all forwards. That's with 0 power play time. He's not on the power play. He plays about 6 to 7 minutes less than the other top forwards, and 10, 12 minutes less than Connor and Leon. He is quietly having, but I don't even know if it's quiet anymore, a strong start to the season. He had a very good game tonight, Matthias Janmark. I've got minus 652 points to Evan Bouchard. There was, I believe, I might have done my math wrong, but I believe there was 6 minutes and 52 seconds left in a game that you were in complete control of. The Leafs were getting nothing done offensively. The Oilers had, at the first 13 minutes of that third period, was excellent. And the play that he tried making was wrong. You just don't go through the middle of your own slot in your own zone. He's on his back foot trying to make that pass. No need for that. He's got Connor McDavid coming over for support. He's got the glass and out. So Evan Bouchard, he's a better player than that. He knows better. I've got 126 points for Leon and Connor. Number 97 and number 29 combines 126. They are the great equalizer. On a team right now where we've got Hyman is underachieved this year, Nugent Hopkins underachieved this year, their power play, their penalty killing, goaltending, Bouchard, they're still got a winning record, and it's because they have the two best players in the world, and they have been very, very good as of late. And again tonight, they get them a point with that goal late in the hockey game. I have got, my last one is minus 34 points, and this is going to probably lead into our next segment, to my good friend Jason Strudwick, who talked me into watching the absolute worst fight I have ever seen in my life, Paul versus Tyson. Last podcast, you got to watch it. I'm going to watch it. It's going to be awesome.
Save it.
I'm like, okay, maybe I should watch this. Maybe something cool is going to happen. 30 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. So
we're going to dig into it in detail next.
Yes.
But I love that you're
Strud's
docking
lost
him
34 out. That's
he
brownie points for tonight.
Deserved that. That is a spectacular edition of Brownie Points. Now, we're not going to roll the intro for Struddy's World because, well, he's not here. And as much as we want to hear, and we love that intro, instead, in honor of Jason Strudwick not being here and us doing Brownie Points without him, I think, is it going to be 2 or 3 run-throughs of the Rodney Dangerfield impersonation? It's at least 2. I'm thinking at least 2.
Yeah, get no respect.
Yes, time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products, location vinylproducts.ca.
Sorry, Shogger, you were muted during that whole read, Shogger. Sorry, you might have to redo that one.
Oh, I was muted?
Yeah, just because I had to bring that in a different way without the intro, so I think you were muted during that.
Okay. Well, my brothers,
give your brothers some more love.
A DLR ad read. My brothers would be super pissed at me if I do that. So go see Rick at the branch here in Edmonton. That's my big brother Rick. Or go see my little brother Rob at the branch in Calgary if you want. Great vinyl fencing product. They're passionate about doing it. It's family business. My dad started it. So yeah, go see DLR Vinyl Products, Rick and Rob and Struds.
Yeah, get no respect.
So I wasn't going to watch this thing. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then I was bored one day and I needed something. I was on the elliptical and I'm like, I want to watch something while I'm on the elliptical. So Netflix actually did a prequel, 3 episodes prepping the matchup, showing how it all came to be, behind the scenes, all that stuff. And I got so stupid about that, Brownie. I ended up binging so I invested another 3 hours before the damn thing even happened. And I'll give them credit. They did a pretty good job of the production on the 3-part series heading into it. So I was already fully invested. And then just like, wah, wah, wah. I just felt foolish.
Well, first of all, the entrance of Jake Paul in the car, took longer than the entire fight was. I'm like, seriously, where's this guy driving to? Could they go any slower? I'm like, oh my God, that was so bad. And that should have been a sign right there. Turn it off. Turn it off. Watch SEAL Team. Watch a different show. But do not watch this fool of a fight. But no, I watched the entire car drive in. And then I watched, I say old man, but the guy Tyson's 2 years older than me. But he looked like me when I go to the gym and you go through one of those things where they got 10 different stations that you go to. And you do the bike. And then you got to go do the bench press. And then when I go from station 6 to 7, I walked like Tyson did back to his chair. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to make it to the next station? And that's how Tyson, he could bear. We should have known when Mike Tyson did his walk in, he tripped like 5 steps in, he stumbled. And I'm like, the poor guy can't even walk to the ring. And then that was actually the highlight. He got worse after. I felt so horrible, so sick to my stomach watching that fight.
Steve-O, did you watch?
Yeah, my son had a hockey game and I kind of rushed home to see it. Luckily, I missed the entrance and I just saw probably the last 5 rounds. But it was a waste of time. Davin put it best on the stream. He says just marketing, and it got us. It got us all. We all watched it at the end of the day, right? We all had Netflix on. We all watched it. So
I feel like Jake Paul, you got to give the guy credit, right? Like he's built this thing and it's unreal, how 100%. Rich the guy is and what he's put together. And not our generation, Brownie, or even you, Steve, but our kids, they all know who this guy is and they all grew up with this guy. He was like the soundtrack for a lot of the nonsense that we were all shaking our heads over. And the slap the day before and he's talking about wanting to kill him and everything, like all of this lead up to it. I'm sort of like, And then when it started, Tyson showed like that tiny little, about 7 seconds off the top, and you're like, oh, and that was it. That was absolutely it. I don't know if that gassed him, but I watched him train in these 3-hour videos before. He looked way better in training than he did in there, Brownie. Way better.
I was when I was watching, I'm like, Kate, would his trainers not have seen him for the last whatever lead up to this? Like literally, he stood in the middle of the thing and he just took punches and just tried to protect himself. He didn't, after I think round 5, he didn't even try throwing a punch. And I'm like, oh, and he looked old. And it was funny that was it Roy Jones Jr. was one of the announcers. And I think it was in round 2. He said, I don't like his legs. I don't like his legs. This is not going to be good.
Yeah.
And here's
he had a knee brace.
Yeah, but he's just like I think what he saw him, but he's got no movement, he's not moving. He's literally walking to where he's coming. I thought it was funny too. Rosie Perez, who's an actress, and I enjoyed her as an actress. I thought it was funny that she was one of the ringside announcers. I'm like, does Rosie Perez, is she a boxer now? Like, did I miss that part of her career?
She wasn't the worst one on the show. I'll definitely
no, I
say
agree.
that.
But I was like, that's Rosie Perez. I really liked her.
Ace96 says, give Paul credit for what? Beating up old men for money. I didn't really finish that thought. So the guy knows how to market. He knows how to make money. And he made 40 plus million, put 20 plus million into Tyson's pocket. And at the end of the day, he took some shots at him, but he laid off big time. And he even talked about it afterwards. he didn't, for all the talk heading in, he didn't want to knock out Mike Tyson. And you could tell that he let up as the fight went on, and Tyson wasn't really engaging. So I think, Jake Paul, man, like, we're all the ones that watched it. We're all the ones that bit on the hook and cleared our evenings and popped the popcorn. And I had a buddy over, for God's sakes. And we're the ones that did that. And so the fact that the fight was crappy, yeah, sure, it's not ideal for Jake Paul, but man, he got paid. And it was another thing that Jake Paul stopped the world for everybody to pay attention to, Brownie. He's got us all figured out, that guy.
I still blame Strudwick. He's the one that talked me into it. I knew that it was going to be horrible. And Strud says, oh, no, Tyson might. I'm like, what? But I mean, you're right. Jake Paul, he's not dumb. If he was dumb, he would go fight a contender. He would go fight a real guy. Yeah. And he's not, because if he loses, and then no one will watch him anymore. I saw George LaRock said he wanted to come out and fight him now. I think I read that. I'm like, well,
George trying to get $3-4 million out of him for sure. I don't know. Like, the undercard was good. There were a couple of really good scraps, man. That fight between the two female boxers, and I apologize, I don't have their names right in front of me, but that was worth sitting down and watching. And I'm not the hugest boxing fan, but yeah, I don't know, man. It just feels like, I hope we've learned our lesson. Brownie, I hope you have learned your lesson. Steve, everyone on the stream, I hope we all learned our lesson with this one, for goodness sakes. Can we just not again? Can we just not?
If we are going to make another bad decision, it won't be watching that fight. We'll make a bad decision somewhere else in life, but we're not going to make a bad decision and watch Jake Paul fight again.
That's right.
All right.
Probably.
We have given that more time than it deserved on this show. Steve, do we got one more break before we got core blue liners? And yeah, we do?
Yep, you betcha.
Okay. All right. One more break and then a couple segments as we wrap the show. You're listening to Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
All right, welcome back to the show. Time now for our core blue liners. Though with Strud's gone, it's going to be our core forward, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSE Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, from creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements. HSE Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. HSEcore.com is the website. That's HSECOR.com for more information. Normally we have Struds do a deep dive on a blue liner, Brownie, but we thought we would task you with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins tonight. Definitely has not been a great start to the season for him. Wanted a little update on where you think his game is at, and you paid a little extra attention to 93 tonight.
Well, what I see is a player that's very confident defensively, but not confident offensively. And I think it started early in the first period. He gets the puck coming off his offside, and a confident player flips it backhand forehand and fires it. He had all the time in the world. Instead, he tried doing a backhand pass, hope pass to the other side where Hyman was. Puck gets blocked. It goes out the other way. On the power play, he took two shots where off his back foot, just kind of wrist shot, like wasn't a whole lot of intent in his shot. It was just like, yeah, I hope this gets through. It might get through. When Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's got one of the best wrist shots in the game. And we've seen it. When he comes down, he fires that. He has intent, and I just don't see it. To me, it looks there's more hope with the puck on his stick than there is intent, and that's never good for an offensive player. I mean, we're 18 games into the season. I think he's 1-7-8 or 1-8. I think he's one goal, 7 assists, 8 points, playing 19 plus a night. I mean, he's got the same box scores as Matthias Janmark, who doesn't play on your power play. So he's a guy that I just don't see the confidence when he has the puck on his stick that we've seen in the past. Yet, when things aren't going well offensively, you've got to make a difference. You've got to be a positive to your team. And I think tonight you saw the importance of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins when the Oilers were shorthanded, 5-on-3. Great stick work, blocking the pass, coming across, getting the puck out. Anytime there's an important defensive zone face-off, he's out there. He's a guy that they can count on. So I think he's been very good defensively, but I do believe right now it's not even snake bit. At the beginning of the season, Zach Hyman wasn't scoring, but he was getting 3-4 grade A scoring chances a game. He was hitting posts. He was having breakaways. He was having wide open nets that he was missing. Right now with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's not getting those looks. And as an offensive player, when you're not scoring, the one thing that you can just hold on to a dear life, I'm still getting the chances. They're going to come. I just don't see the chances with RNH right now. And this is a guy, RNH, who's played almost exclusively with Connor McDavid this year. And if you're not getting those grade A looks with Connor, it will affect you offensively. It will affect your confidence.
It's interesting, when you think about his cap number, Brownie, he's just a shade over $5 million, man. Mm-hmm. If he's at 6.5, 7.5, like that year he had 100 points. He was an unbelievable bargain for the Oilers, just fantastic. By doing the deal that he did, though, there's a little bit more you're going to be up and down a little bit, and he's having a bit of a downtime here right now. And that's, I guess my point is that, it definitely is easier for a player that I think day to day is generally considered a pretty good deal on the cap.
Yep.
That the ups and downs are a little bit easier in a market like this to ride your way through, hey, because he's been down here, but we haven't heard a lot about him necessarily. And I think a lot of that has to do with kind of that. Plus the fact that he plays on all these different phases of the game. So it's not just about the offensive numbers.
No, but right now he's on pace for 5 goals on the season, playing on your number one power play unit and playing with Connor McDavid. These are not RNH numbers. Now, again, there are other aspects. This is what sets him apart from other players. For example, a Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner, offensively, it's not going for him, although I thought he looked better tonight, but it's not going for him. But he also at times can be a defensive liability. RNH is a guy that you want out there 5 versus 3 defensively. You want out there starting every penalty kill. You want out there last minute of periods because he does make the proper play. So defensively, he hasn't lost a step, but right now he looks out of sync offensively. And this is a guy that's we've 18 games this year, 82. So he's 100 games from his 100-point season. So it shouldn't have disappeared that quickly for RNH. But the longer it goes, and I know from experience, the longer it goes, the more you think about it, and then the harder it gets. So he needs a break. Now, he got an assist on the goal that Leon got. He was in the battle. He was in the fight. Hopefully something like that pushes forward. I know that our buddy Stoff said he believes that RNH is going to have a big night in Montreal. I really do hope that, because this Oiler team is actually, their record's not bad for the players that are underachieving. If you can get an RNH and a Hyman going, this team is that much better.
Yeah, for sure. So why is it always Nuge and not Hyman? Neil Garrity asking that, maybe suggesting we're being harder on Nugent-Hopkins than we should be, and maybe Hyman deserves a little bit of that too. What I would suggest, Neil, is like the one thing you get with Zach Hyman is whether the offense is coming or not, Zach Hyman kind of is doing everything that he can do to try and, get his game in the right spot and create opportunity and stuff. Like his engine is so good. And I know they're different types of players. Nugent-Hopkins is a little more elegant, right? A little more subtle out there with the way he does things. Yep. So maybe it looks different. But I'll point to a play. It might even be the same play that you talked about, Brownie, early on in the game where he had the puck kind of coming in off the right side, I think. I thought to myself, take that to the net. Like Nugent-Hopkins. When was the last time you saw Ryan Nugent-Hopkins take the puck hard to the net? Right? Just like drop a shoulder and drive it hard to the net. And I think when the offense isn't coming for him, you don't see a lot of like desperate, reckless abandon to fix it, like you see with a Hyman or some of these other guys. So I think one of my criticisms would be at 1 goal on the season, I would like to be seeing Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a little more desperate and playing with a little more reckless abandon in an effort to change that.
Well, that was the exact play I was talking about. And to me, I use the word intent. Like there was no, he had a hope. He hoped the puck that he threw across would hit someone instead of at that point, take your backhand to your forehand and just drive it into the net. But I don't think I'm being negative against RNH to the fact he's contributing. He's just not contributing offensively the way that we are used to it. And when you're playing with Connor McDavid and on the first power play, 1 goal after 18 games isn't enough. Like literally, he's on pace for 5 goals this season. He's a much better hockey player than that.
That was Core Forward, brought to you by HSE Core Services. Nice job there, Brownie, standing in for Strud tonight on that segment. Okay, next up, we're going to take a lap. Some stories going on around the National Hockey League. Brownie and I are going to dip into here, and that's brought to you by our friends over at Acon. They got 150 years in the construction industry. They've spearheaded some of the most notable projects across the country. One of Canada's original leaders in heavy industrial contracting, operating proudly here in Edmonton. By the way, they got jobs, right? If you are looking for work, go to acon.com and click on Join Our Team to see what they have to offer. But they're always looking for quality people. And so take a look. Maybe there'll be a great fit and you can work for a great, nice big national level construction company over at Acon. Okay, Brownie, a couple of places I want to go with this tonight. There was some talk, Friedge talked a little bit about it on the broadcast tonight, heard it a couple of other places. There's talk that things are going well financially for the league. Now, there's a 5% escalator every year that they can bump the cap up, and they can decide, whether to go the full amount or not. But there is talk because things are going so well that with the cap in the 92.5 range projected, they could end up bumping it a little bit more this upcoming season instead, and then do a smaller bump the year after. The reason why this could be relevant, the first year of Leon Draisaitl's new contract kicking in, I think this would be huge for the Oilers if they did a bigger bump on the cap and got it up into that 95 range. For a team with this deal kicking in, this could be big for the Oilers. So, Brian, I just think it's interesting that the league is doing well. Revenue seems to be doing well, and they might bump this thing sooner than we thought.
Well, that's good for hockey in general. It's good if you're a player. It's good if you're an owner. It's good for if you're a team that spends to the cap, because now you have a little more cap room. So, yeah, I think that's a win-win for everybody, and that's the way it should be. If things are going good, it's going up. If things are going bad, well, it becomes stagnant. We don't move it at all. To me, that's good news, and I think both the Players Association and the ownership will be happy to hear that news and happy to have a higher salary cap, because that makes for more money for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll keep an eye on that one because, they got a big number coming in here with Draisaitl. There's going to be, this Bouchard situation is going to have to get sorted out at some point as well. So Oilers are definitely a team that always has to pay really close attention to that cap. And again, it's just a maybe. There's no guarantee at this point that it's going to happen, but definitely my ears perked up a little bit when I heard that. One of the other stories going on around the league, Valeri Nichushkin makes his return to the Colorado Avalanche lineup. A bit of a tough entry back in, was -3 in just under 20 minutes played, a 5-2 loss the Avalanche take to the Washington Capitals. But Brownie, we know the story here with Nichushkin. It's been multiple times, dealing with issues in his personal life and substance abuse and such. But he managed to work his way back into the lineup, was welcomed back by his team. And here is Val Nichushkin one more time here to the Weiss Johnson Soundbox. Here he is talking after the game that he played.
Guys said me so many good words. They support me kind of from first day. It happens. So it's huge help. When guys still with you.
What have the last 6 months been like for you?
Like I said, it's so tough. A lot of work. A lot of things. But I think I had huge progress. With my mental health. So hope it never happens again.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody hope that it never happens again, and we hope he can be healthy and contribute. But it could be big for a Colorado team that is not off to the start they want. When this guy's going, Brownie, he's so important, and Colorado needs this player.
He's an excellent hockey player. He was on pace, for 40 goals last year. They are a much better hockey club when he's with them. I was shocked that he came back to Colorado. I mean, his back-to-back playoff seasons were things that, well, he has affected the team in a negative way. He's left the team back-to-back playoffs in the middle of playoff series. And it's not like you can go fill that hole because your team is your team. And you just took out a top 3 forward out of your lineup. So I was shocked that he came back to Colorado. But it's one of those ones, okay, if we let him go, if we buy him out, if we get rid of him, how do we fill that spot? Because he's that good. I hope he stays healthy. I hope his mental health, his physical health, and whatever demons that have affected him, he sees them and becomes the player that he's capable of. But I tell you, playoff start, I'd still be a little nervous if I was the Colorado Avalanche because,
fair,
yeah, it back-to-back years, you go to the rink and, oh, wait a second, our big superstar is no longer with us. And it adversely, I think didn't they get bombed the one game that they found out just before the game? So I hope it works out. I really do hope it works out for him, but I say that with hesitation.
Paulie says, Val put in some work, good for him. And I think we can all agree on that. That was taking a lap. Brought to you by Acon. Okay, Brownie, I'm going to let you get thinking about a play of the day because normally that's Struddy. He does it right at the end of the show. So we'll give you a minute to process that. But let's rip through a scoreboard here real quick because there were some games of consequence for the Oilers tonight. So I just got bumped off of the right page. What's the date today? We're the 16th, right? There were a couple of scores that I thought were interesting and a couple that had some consequence to the Oilers. So as we get to our scoreboard, brought to you by Canadian Club in honor of the founding year of the CC Distillery, 1858, the all-new Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof is 58%. It's a whopper, the highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date, but you wouldn't know it because it is really smooth, aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish that is so smooth. All right, I think the Vancouver Canucks just wrapped up here against the Chicago Blackhawks. A 4-1 win over the Blackhawks. But Bouchard getting an opportunity to play back in British Columbia. Similar score for the LA Kings. 4-1 win over the Detroit Red Wings. Elsewhere in the Western Conference, Dallas 2-1 over the Minnesota Wild. And by the way, the Winnipeg Jets continue to have a bit of trouble on their Tampa trip. Brownie, they've now lost back-to-back games. They got smoked by the Lightning the other day. I think they've given up 9 goals and scored 1 in their last 2 games. They're shut out tonight by the Florida Panthers 5-0. And what else? The Seattle Kraken 3-2. They end up getting past the New York Islanders. And the St. Louis Blues 3-2 winners over the Boston Bruins. So plenty of action going on around the Western Conference. Just going to take a quick check-in on the standing because I haven't looked at it yet tonight since most of the games are finished. Oilers sitting there in that wild card spot as of the time we're taping right now if nothing changes with 20 points. Vegas, LA, and Calgary currently leading the Pacific Division. Oilers just a point back, though, of the Calgary Flames for that 3rd spot in the Pacific Division. And, of course, the Oilers with the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators set to go on Monday and Tuesday. Montreal won their game tonight, by the way. That was our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. And with that said, Brownie, let's get to our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Air polisher cleanings to advanced treatments. They offer a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy. The experienced team providing personalized care with the latest technology, making sure you get the best treatment possible. GalleryDentalYEG.com is the website. You have something in mind tonight, Brownie? What do you got, buddy?
I do. It certainly won't make Oiler fans happy. But Mitch Marner, the play he made in overtime, Mitch Marner is the D-man back on a 2-on-1. Connor and Leon have a 2-on-1. We've seen that in overtime so many times. and it usually ends up in a victory for the Edmonton Oilers. Mitch Marner played it perfect. Not only does he break up the 2-on-1, he blocks it and immediately goes north, turns it into a 2-on-1 for the Maple Leafs, and he scores the game-winning goal. That was a fantastic play by Mitch Marner. It was, and it broke the hearts of a lot of Oiler fans. But we are, 3 months away from cheering for Mitch Marner, as I believe he will be part of Team Canada. Who knows? Maybe he's playing on the wing with Connor McDavid in the Four Nations Cup. But to me tonight, the biggest play of the game was made by Mitch Marner in overtime.
Gotta hate dropping a point in Toronto when Austin Matthews is not in the lineup. Oilers really had a chance for 2 points tonight, despite the fact they were shorthanded. Without Arvidsson, Nurse was out. We didn't really talk about their overall game. We focused a lot on their mistakes and Stuart Skinner and all that, and that's all fair. There were long stretches of that game where the Oilers, shorthanded, actually put together a decent performance tonight, Brownie, even though they spit the bit by letting their foot off the pedal there. I think that narrative tonight, it's not like they were brutal and lost this game, but they choked on it a bit.
Well, I thought they played a good game. That was a highly entertaining game. I thought they wasted an opportunity on the 5-minute power play. It was a 2-1 lead. They could have extended the lead. I think that would have been enough to win the hockey game. They didn't, but then give them credit. 5-on-3 against for almost a minute. They killed that off. The Leafs' first 2 power plays, 5-on-4. They were fantastic. Didn't score, but could have. And then the Oilers killed it off. Then the third period, and this is where I go, eventually it turned into the Bouchard mistake. But the first 13 minutes of that third period, the Oilers played a very professional, solid, simple road period and had that game in hand. So there were a lot of good things that the Oilers did tonight. Just unfortunately for them, that they weren't able to get the one save they needed, and they made the biggest mistake of the third period by Evan Bouchard. But again, 5 out of 6 points in their last 3 games, going into Montreal, going into Ottawa. Their best 2 players are playing like the best 2 in the world right now. The Oilers are trending in the right direction.
Just got to learn to hang on to those leads. Steve, we're not going to forget the poll tonight, buddy. Come on back in. Let us know what the final results were.
Okay, the question again, how many games should Reeves be suspended? And the most popular answer was 4 to 5 games at 38%. We had 20% saying 6 to 8 and another 20% saying 9+, and 20% also saying 1 to 3. And so 349 votes in total. So pretty spread out, but 4 to 5 seems to be where most people are at.
Pretty measured. I would say a pretty measured take by Oiler fans there. Oh, Steve, we forgot to wrap the poll last time around too.
Yeah.
So people were pissed at us because we asked a question they wanted an answer to, and then we wrapped the show. Do you have it quick? What was it?
I do have it quick. So the question was, after 1,000 points in 659 games, what is McDavid's second most impressive achievement? Most popular answer was 153 points in that 22-23 season.
Yeah.
Also at 40% was 700-point seasons. And coming in third place was 4-time Ted Lindsay Award winner at 12%. And then 8% said 500 points in 369 games.
Man, he's done a lot. There's a lot on that list, hey?
And there was more that I could have chose from.
Brownie, you went the distance tonight, buddy. You put in a Struddy shift. How do you feel? You take a break, take a nap? Like you went full 90. This is the longest show ever, 93 minutes.
I feel like Mike Tyson did after the 5th round last night. I'm going to have trouble getting back to the chair.
Well, listen, I know you have trouble like turning your camera off, but do us all a favor. Don't get up and walk away from the camera and show us all your bare ass. We do not want to see it, buddy. We do not want to see that. Thanks, Brownie. Appreciate it, my friend.
See you guys later.
All right, see you, Brownie. Steve, great job managing things tonight. We were all over the map, but you did a great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Shogger.
All right, and our big thanks to Devan Dubnyk for just go.
It's amazing.
Goodness sakes. Big thanks to Devan Dubnyk for joining us tonight as well. We had a lot of fun on tonight's show, even though it was a little bit longer. We will drop our No Sunday Night Pod, programming note, No Sunday Night Pod. We'll drop our next show after the Oilers and Habs on Monday. Then we'll do another one on Tuesday. And yes, Struddy will be back in the big chair. Thanks so much for tuning in, joining us on the live stream. We really appreciate it. And thank you to all of our wonderful, amazing sponsors, including our title sponsor, Play Alberta. See you, folks.